Little Timmy's parents are going to have a severe talking to by me at about 4:00 p.m. Here's why. Little Timmy can't keep his hands to himself. How old is Timmy? He's 7. How old's my daughter? 7. I saw a live the other day asking the woman when's the first time you remember having cat calls or some kind of inappropriate schmexual behavior, unwanted schmexual advances from men. I remembered college just trying to walk to class and the whistling and the nasty, vulgar comments and stuff. But I couldn't remember earlier than that. At that point in my life, it was normalized in my mind. But for my daughter, I guess it's age 7, literally this week. Let me tell you this story. 3 things that little Timmy did that are totally gross. The last one's the worst. It was actually an escalation throughout the week, and some other disturbing things about how it's been handled by the adults. Number 1, comment on Monday. It was either Monday or Tuesday. He decides to just randomly stick a guitar in her face, like pointy end of the guitar in her face, and go like it's a sword or something. So my daughter's like, got scared, a little spooked. She said, please don't do that. That was it. Little Timmy had his eyes on her after that because she said no. So the next thing he does, rather than pulling back, is to start banging on the piano that she's playing with the guitar. He bangs on it 3 times, making eye contact with her to let her know who's boss. At that point, the adult noticed and said, Timmy, stop doing that. By the way, his name's not really Timmy. I'm trying to be polite by not giving his real name. Second incident, next day or the day after. He decides, she's the singer, he's the drummer in the band. She's singing a Taylor Swift song today, this afternoon, performing as the lead singer. He's the drummer. Second incident, a little bit worse. Timmy just decides to wrap the cord, she's the singer, so she has a microphone, wrap the microphone cord around her body. She says, stop, so he pulls it tighter. 7-year-old boy pulls the cord tighter, at which point, again, adult finally intervenes. Timmy, stop that. Now let's get to the third one. You want to hear the first time that my daughter got to experience a little boy threatening to use his wee-wee in a violent way? Age 7. Final event of the culmination. They are walking in line. They are going to the park. Little Timmy decides to turn around and face my daughter, put a football over the place where his wee is housed in his pants, say, I am going to pee on you. At which point my daughter shrieks at the top of her lungs. And again, same adult who's been with them all week, 3 times, this is the 3rd thing he's done, says, Timmy, don't put a football over your schmeeness, like ha ha ha, like it's a silly, goofy thing to do. So that was too much. So at that point, I sent an email outlining these events to the band camp, pointing out that I take these things seriously. This is something to be taken seriously. We talk about lowering the age of consent for women and girls. How about if we lower the age of accountability for little boys? Parents of little boys, you can't teach Timmy to keep it in his pants at age 7. Maybe you're going to have some legal trouble going forward. Let me tell you one last thing about this story. Disturbing statement about the priorities that we have in our society. It's a 5-day band camp. On Wednesday, she skinned her knee. I had a full-on incident report. She skinned her knee, and it was covered with a Band-Aid, and she was fine. I had a full-on incident report that I had to sign, all filled out, saying I acknowledge that her knee was skinned and she's okay. Meanwhile, 3 incidents of what would be considered violent schmashalt, if these people were adults, go unmentioned by anyone but my daughter. Thank God my daughter tells me everything, because I am going to have a little talking with little Timmy's parents today. Let's see how they handle it. I want to know what's going on at home, that little Timmy thinks it's an appropriate response to know to target a little girl all week with increasing levels of violence. Where did Timmy learn that this is how you handle no? How about we teach little boys what consent means before we lower the age of consent? Maybe we can consider lowering the age of accountability until they understand consent. I will let you know how things go with little Timmy's parents, because I'm not letting this one go. Mama Bear ain't letting this one go. Another little interesting factoid about little Timmy. He's referred to my daughter all week as, quote, the singer, which she noticed and found distasteful. I find that interesting and a little bit gross. Not enough to wrap a little cord around her while she's singing, threaten to wee-wee with your wee-wee on her, but refusing to acknowledge her given name the entire week. The entire week is something that little Timmy is already learning how to do. This is a common practice among narcissists, refusing to use a woman's given name to refer to her. Little Timmy at age 7 is already doing that because a little girl said no when he stuck a guitar in her face. This is gross. Mama Bear's on the case. I'll let you know how it goes.